Hi class, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to our reading group. Hoping you guys are having a fabulous week and are enjoying the work that Miss Harmon has provided for you guys. We're going to read our next passage for our reading, but first we're going to go over our vocabulary words. So go ahead and open your readers to page 118 and it should look just like this. Okay, my friends, let's go over our first vocabulary word. I want you guys to try to remember what that word is. Go ahead and try. All right, and now say it with me. Say agriculture. Agriculture is farming. So that's growing food or raising livestock such as cows and chickens and horses and being a farmer. All of that is agriculture. Our next vocabulary word is consumer. Go ahead and say it with me, consumer. And a consumer is a person who buys goods or services. So you and I are consumers of a lot of things. I am a consumer of Starbucks coffee because Miss Harmon loves coffee. But you can be a consumer of different video games or different toys or movies that you guys like to go watch, like Frozen 2 or Sonic the Hedgehog. So when you buy a movie ticket, that means that you are a consumer of that service. Our third vocabulary word is right here. It is farmer's market. And a farmer's market is a market where farmers come to you directly selling all of their agriculture. Fresh produce such as fruits and vegetables or anything from their animals such as eggs or chicken or milk. Anything that comes directly from a farmer that he has raised on his farm. That is what is at a farmer's market. Our fourth vocabulary word is healthfully. Go ahead and say it with me. Healthfully. And healthfully means that you're doing something for health purposes. So choosing to eat things like fruits and vegetables in order to add positive fuel to our bodies so we can grow big and strong. And then our last vocabulary word is produce. Go ahead and say it with me. Produce. And produce is any fruit or vegetable that is grown. So anything from zucchini, cucumbers, to green beans, watermelon, oranges, apples. The list can go on and on. And all of those fruits and vegetables that are grown are called produce. All right, my friends, we're going to go forward 2 pages to page 122. And we're going to read our amplified text. So what is one thing that you guys notice about these pages? What is the same from the last page that we read yesterday? So what's the same is the pictures. Right, good job, guys. But what's different is that there are more words, which means there are more details, and we're going to learn more about farmers market. All right, the title is Let It Grow. Point to picture 1. Again, this looks like it is a farmer's market where a farmer is selling her produce. Please follow along with your finger as Miss Harmon reads aloud. One local business that keeps growing today is the farmer's market. In the last 10 years, the number of farmer's markets has doubled. So there are twice as many farmers market as there were 10 years ago. So there are more farmers markets available for us to shop at. Point to picture 2. Again, this is a bar graph to show how many more farmers markets are today than there were 10 years ago. All right, guys, please follow along as I read aloud. Today, the United States Department of Agriculture lists more than 8,000 farmers markets. The reason is consumer choice. So now there are 8,000 farmers markets in the United States, and that's all because of consumers. Remember, a consumer is somebody who buys something. So consumers like you and I who choose to buy fresh produce from a farmer's market, and that's why there are more and more farmers markets. Go ahead and point to picture 3. And again, this looks like this little boy is possibly shopping at a farmer's market with his mom. Please follow along as I read aloud. One choice is to eat more healthfully. Studies show we need to eat fresh greens, fruits, and vegetables. Fresh produce is a healthful part of our diet. So remember, it's important to put positive things into our body like fruits and vegetables because it helps us grow big and strong. Okay, my friends, picture 4. This looks like a picture of lots of produce. Grocery stores report that fresh produce sales have tripled since the 1990s. Farmers markets are also meeting this demand. So this is saying that more and more people are, even at grocery stores as well as farmers markets, are buying more fresh vegetables and fruit. Picture 5. Looks like this is a picture of lots of vegetables. Consumers are not just making healthful choices for their bodies, they are also trying to make good choices for their communities. So remember, a community is somewhere that you live and all the people that you connect with is called your community. So we have a community at Lisa J. Males with all of our teachers and all of our students. And you live in a community. So where your house is at, you have neighbors who you probably talk with and play with, and that is the community. We live in the community of Marietta. Picture 6. For example, they buy local food. This is a good way to support their local farmers. So it's really important to support local farmers. And a local farmer just means a farmer who lives close by, who comes to a farmer's market that's by your house. And it's important to buy from these farmers because farming is their job. And in order to be successful and be able to provide for their family, they have to be able to sell their agriculture, such as fruits, vegetables, eggs, milk, everything that we've talked about so far. Picture 7. Food writer Michael Pollan reports, by shopping at a farmer's market, you support local agriculture, which has a great many benefits. So there are many, many good reasons why it's important to shop at a farmer's market. Besides just making choices for our body and making sure that we're healthy, it's also good for communities because it helps these farmers be able to stay on their farms and continue to grow these different fruits and vegetables and be able to grow their livestock and provide for their family and also provide for our environment. Picture 8. You keep farmers in your community. You keep land from being sprawled with houses and shopping centers. And you also have the experience of shopping in a farmer's market. So again, this is telling you all the benefits, which are good things about farmer's market. So the first good thing about farmer's markets, like we've talked about, is making healthful decisions for our body. So putting things into our body that make us grow big and strong. A second reason is for our community. Farmers markets are good for our community because if we buy from local farmers, then they're able to harvest the land and they won't build as many houses and build as many shopping centers, and which is really great for our environment and keeping us healthy and keeping our air healthy and not having too many houses or too many shopping centers being built. So that's why it's so important to buy from farmers markets because they're farmers who live right in our neighborhood and who are providing for their family. So again, go ahead and take a minute and answer this question with your parents. Explain why farmers markets are good for communities. I want you to go ahead and take about 3 minutes and talk about this with your mom or dad. All right, go ahead. Okay, my friends, thank you for taking a minute to talk with your parents about why farmers markets are so good for our community. So the next part, I want you to flip forward in your books to page 127, and it should look just like Miss Harmon's screen. And this is where we're going to talk about the main idea and then 3 supporting details of what we read about. So I want you guys to take a minute and close your eyes and think about all the things that we've been reading about. I'm going to say some vocabulary words, and I want you to try to envision the different colors, the different things that you saw, the background, and different things that you saw in the picture of our reading. All right? Agriculture, consumer, farmer's market, healthfully, produce. And some colors that I saw in those pictures were yellow and green and red and blue. I saw some different shapes of the fruits. So I'm thinking of an idea, all the things that we read about. We talked about United States and why farmers markets are good for our bodies and good for our communities. And now we're going to open our eyes and we're going to come back to our page right here. And we're going to talk about the main idea. So I'm going to type it out and I want you guys to write it in your books, okay? And it's okay, Mom and Dad, if you guys want to write it in highlighter and your child can go ahead and copy over it, whatever you think is best for your child. All right, guys, so the main idea, so the most important thing that this article was trying to tell us, the reader, was that farmers markets are growing in the United States because of consumers buying fresh produce. So go ahead and take a minute and write your sentence. Okay, and once you're done writing your sentence, we're going to talk about 3 details that we read about in our passage about farmers markets. Okay, guys, so remember the main idea is the main purpose that the author wrote this to readers to educate them about farmers markets. And now we're going to think of 3 details that we read to support that this was the main idea. So if I'm thinking about it, I'm going to think back to our reading, and you guys can flip back to your books now if you want to take a minute to look about the first part. So maybe look at picture 1 and 2 and think about some details that support that farmers markets are growing in the United States. And if I look at picture 2, I see that graph where it shows that there are more and more and more farmers markets over the years. So the first detail I'm going to write is the number of farmers markets has doubled in the last 10 years. Go ahead and take a minute to write that on your paper, guys. And once you're done recording that sentence, we're going to go ahead and think about the next detail. So if you need to pause the video to write your sentence, please do so. And then go ahead and flip back to your story. And I want you guys to look at pictures 3, 4, and 5 for our next detail. Think about what we read about in those 3 pictures and think about a detail that can support the main idea that farmers markets are growing because of consumers buying fresh produce. And what Ms. Harmon's going to write is farmers markets help meet the consumer demand for fresh produce. Okay, so this is talking about how consumers, people like you and I, are buying more and more fresh produce, and that's why there are more and more farmers markets. So go ahead and pause the video and write this next detail, and then unpause it when you're ready to write the third detail. All right, my friends, now we're going to write our last details to support our main idea, okay? And so for this one, I want you guys to look at pictures 6, 7, and 8 and to kind of think about why there are more farmers markets. So what are people like you and I doing, and what are we more aware of now that makes us want to buy fresh produce from farmers markets? So the last detail is going to be people want to make healthy choices for their bodies, and don't forget, and their communities. So go ahead and write that in your third detail. All right, guys, it was fun reading with you guys today, and I want you guys to think about some different things that you learned about the farmers market and talk about with Mom and Dad. And as you're making lunch or breakfast or dinner today, think about making those healthy choices and eating those fresh fruits and vegetables. All right, guys, Ms. Harmon will see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.